Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, the 13th of January. I never said Happy New Year's to everybody. We're now in 2025. Today I decided that I'm going to make another video. I just posted one yesterday, and I had a little idea. And my idea was to talk about the misconceptions that us flight attendants have. What people think about us that might not be true. So, I hear some of these things a lot. Some of them are a little rude or kind of cliche or like really old school thoughts about what the industry is like or what flight attendants are like. So we're going to go over those in today's video. Go ahead and watch it through. Give it a like if you like the video or my channel. And yeah, so why don't we just get on into it? So the first thing that we're going to go over, number one, is that flight attendants are just servers. We're just like waitresses in the sky. Of course, this is not true. We do so much more than that. On a good day, all we do is pour a Diet Coke and, answer a call bell a couple of times. But flight attendants are actually there in case of a medical situation. Possibly like of course, an emergency evacuation, God forbid, for the land or the water. We are trained through weeks at a time at a company location that they'll most likely fly us out to. It can be anywhere from, like 4 to 8 weeks, depending on the airline. So we're trained to do evacuations, other medical emergencies such as maybe someone is having a heart attack or a stroke. We are even trained to deliver a child. If some people are flying and they are about to give birth, they should not be flying. A lot of guest service agents can deny you from flying if you look too pregnant. But some people still slip through the cracks, and they do have birth on board. So we are trained to deliver a baby mid-flight. Sounds crazy. It's a little bit like my worst nightmare, but you never know what could happen, and if it does happen, I am prepared for it. We are also trained to handle decompressions mid-flight. So this could mean for some reason the cabin has lost pressurization and we are losing oxygen, which is really bad for everybody on board. So in those situations, we have to don our oxygen tanks first, or a mask if we're sitting down in the area. But if we need to walk about the cabin, we need to put on an oxygen tank to assist other people. There are 3 different kinds of decompression: slow decompression, rapid, and explosive. So a slow decompression would happen within 10 seconds or more. So this can often be the most dangerous type of cabin decompression because you don't really realize it's happening until it's already happened, till you start to lose consciousness and feel sick and dizzy. A rapid decompression happens within 10 seconds or less. Now this can be dangerous, of course, because it's a little more violent. You usually kind of drop from the sky, and that's when you get some real turbulence or something happens, and the plane will drop. You'll lose some 1,000 feet or whatever it is, and the masks that are up in the overhead compartments will come down and provide you oxygen if need be. So that would be a rapid decompression. Likely maybe a little hole in the side or some turbulence will create the plane to drop a bit and lose some pressurization. Now an explosive decompression, that would probably be, I'd like to say that's the most dangerous as well, but slow decompression is really scary as well because you don't see it coming. But explosive decompression is a big deal. That would be like a big hole in the side of the plane, some sort of a catastrophic, I don't know, that sounds very extreme, but it's a very, very, very bad situation to have an explosive decompression. That means you lose pressurization within 1 second or less. It's right away, it happens. It's usually a BOMB or something really bad happens within the plane that it happens within a moment or less. So that's pretty scary. That is probably the most startling and quick to act type of decompressions that you could have. It's very, very huge emergency that could be happening on board. So we're trained for those situations as well. So number 2 would be that most flight attendants are young single women. This is not true. We have male and female flight attendants and of all ages. So to become a flight attendant, you have to be 21 years old, at least in the US, or older. So that's qualification number 1. You can't be under that age. Number 2 is that a lot of flight attendants actually become flight attendants once they have retired from a previous career or employer. So that means we have people of all ages. I mean, I've met teachers, I've met people in the medical field. You could be kind of tired of your job or your 9 to 5 and you just want to change. I've met these people before, and then they become a flight attendant. I almost ran out of breath there. And then they become a flight attendant and they're living this whole new lifestyle and they just love it. Or you've done something throughout your whole entire life. You're in your 60s or almost 70 or whatever it is. And then you decide, you're kind of bored and you want to meet people, you want to travel a bit, and you've always thought about becoming a flight attendant. Now's your time. You don't have kids anymore in the house. You might even have grandkids, or say you're in your 40s or 50s and now your kids are out of the house. It's a great time to become a flight attendant. And you could be brand new on the line and you're in your 50s. I see it. I work with those people. I was in training with those people where my company was their first airline. And they're, my mom's age, and I got along with them really well. I kind of get along with the older crowd in situations like that. I hate to call them old, but they're older than I am. And I don't know, I call them my flight moms, and I love them so much. And they were such a positive influence to be around during training. But to get back to the point was that you can be any age, to be a flight attendant and to come into this job. You don't have to be young and single. So that was the last part, was that. One second. I need my coffee. I just woke up not too long ago, so I'm still kind of getting there. But single, of course, you don't have to be single to be a flight attendant. There are tons of flight attendants that are married and have children and have been married for a long time and are loyal to their partners. We do have single flight attendants too. It's just like every other day, every other life, every other job. There are single people. And there are people in relationships of all ages, shapes, sizes, and genders. So none of this is true. It's not just a bunch of young, hot girls on a plane. It's a bunch of hot mamas too and hot daddies too. So let's get that one, clear the air on that one. Number 3, flight attendants are uneducated. Well, that sounds rude, right? Well, let me tell you what. I did not go to college, so it sounds funny talking about this because I wouldn't say I'm uneducated. I don't think I'm not a bright person. I think that I am. I finished high school and I love to read and learn new things and, buy knowledgeable books, and I read, entertaining fictional books as well, but I would not consider myself an uneducated person personally. But other than me, what I can say is that I've met a lot of people who, like I said, just like every other life and every other day out there are people that go to college and go to school and they switch up their major, or they get a degree in something and they don't even follow through with it because they realize that it's just not for them. So a lot of people that realize that it's just not for them become flight attendants. So we have a lot of people who are educated, who have degrees, who are even still in school at this moment while they're working as flight attendants. It's a great job to be in school at the same time, at least if it's online, because you have a lot of downtime on the plane. If you're having a red eye where everybody's asleep on the plane and you don't really need a bunch of help, you have moments where you can do some studying on board. We read, we'll journal, or we'll play games with each other, or just talk. So sometimes you could fill that space of downtime while you're also at work getting paid with studying for a different career path, or something to do on the side, or have a part-time job, or whatever it is. So we are educated. It just depends on the person, but I would not say that anybody that I work with is like dumb or anything like that. We have a bunch of smart, good-headed people with good heads on their shoulders working for our company and in this industry. So no, I wouldn't say that flight attendants are uneducated. So this is number 5. I don't know if I said 4 or 3 last time, but we're on 5. And that would be that being a flight attendant is glamorous. Now, of course, online, it looks very glamorous. And sometimes it has its moments. I mean, like I've preached about before, I don't like this job. I don't love this job for no reason. And it is not just for glitz and glamour. It's because of the people and the traveling and the new experiences, and I don't like, a 9 to 5 and being stuck in one place every day with the same people every day. I like the change of routine. I just absolutely adore it, and I need it in my life, So, but yeah, it does have its moments. I mean, you could go shopping all over the world. You try new restaurants. You're meeting new people and having new experiences that you would normally never get to have. when you're working a job where you're just home all the time. You are just put in new places and given new opportunities when you're constantly on the road. Coffee break. Sorry if that's annoying. I just really need my coffee right now. So it is not always glamorous though. There are plenty of times that I have had and that we all have in this industry where we are working 14, 16-hour work days. That's the max that I have worked, was 16 and a half hours. Now, that was before the FAA. I think they brought it down to like, they could only work us to like 15 right now. But I still went over. I wasn't supposed to be working over 16 hours, but it happened. I was stuck on the plane. So, but you could work a 15-hour shift and then get minimum rest, because it'll eat into, like if you get a lot of delays, it'll eat into your layover. And I think the minimum amount of rest that they can give us right now is 10 hours. It used to be 8. So they can give us 10 hours rest, and that includes from when the plane doors open, our duty time ends, to when we have to be back at the gate the next day. So that's all getting to the airport, getting to the hotel, showering and changing and eating, sleeping, and it also includes waking up, getting ready, and getting to the airport the next morning. So you do the math there. If you're lucky, you're getting 5 or 6 hours of rest with all of that in there. So sometimes you just don't have time to do anything on a layover. And sometimes that can be your entire trip. You might have a crappy trip and you just have a long work day almost every day and minimum rest every night. That happens. That is not glamorous. Let me tell you what, that is exhausting. And last time I checked, glamour was not exhaustion. So we have good days and we have bad days, just like every other job. All right, number 6, it is easy for flight attendants to travel the world. So easy, no. Easy, it is not easy for us. And always possible? No, it's not always possible either. You have to be pretty on top of it if you want to travel certain places, or if you're doing it very frequently, like you're commuting. I don't even commute, so I'm not as experienced as some other flight attendants are with other airlines and the best ways to do it, and which routes and which airlines are least full when you're trying to commute. Some people really have it figured out to a T. But let's say you were traveling, out of the country for vacation on a separate airline. Say I want to go to Japan, and I already got my flight to LA, and I need to hop on a United flight to Japan. Usually I've heard that those flights are pretty empty, but say that it's not, and it's also full of other non-revenue flyers, which are employees. Non-revenue, they're not paying. It's standby, but for employees. I would be at the bottom of the list if there's a bunch of other employees that work for United going the same place that I'm going. No one's paying. It's like taxes and fees, of course, but you are not guaranteed a seat, and now I'm at the bottom of the list of the people who aren't guaranteed a seat. So if it's a full flight, I'm not guaranteed to get there. And forget it if it's like holidays, that becomes even more difficult and nearly impossible to fly on your benefits. It's really nice when it works out because you save a lot of money, and sometimes the flight attendants on that airline will give you upgrades to, business or first class. It can be really cool, and sometimes it is worth a try. But if you have a whole trip planned out for like a week or two, or you're trying to make a wedding or get to your honeymoon or something very important, you just have to be there. A lot of flight attendants will still purchase tickets. Depending on the airline that they're purchasing with, if it's their airline, they can likely still get a discount to get a positive seat, which means they're definitely getting on that plane. It's their seat, they bought it. Or they're just gonna buy a flat out ticket if it's with another airline, full price. I hate the idea of that because this is one of our biggest benefits is flight and travel. So, but I mean, it's just not always that doable. So no, it's not always that easy. You kind of have to be really savvy about it and accept and understand that there are risks to not making said flight. I have only missed one flight before in the past for me, and it was a day. It was busy. I was trying to get into LaGuardia. I had a friend with me, and I was like, oh, it's so easy. Like, there's so many open seats. We'll get on. I think it canceled. And then the next one we couldn't get on either because it was oversold. We had to buy a ticket on another airline because I couldn't do standby because it was full. Everybody was flying to New York for some reason. So we ended up buying tickets same day. So it wasn't cheap, that. Number 7, flight attendants always fly the same routes. This is not true. We get a schedule every month. We do this bidding process. In fact, I'm going to be getting my schedule today, which is exciting to see what I have next month to fly. And once we get this schedule, it's a mix of different trips depending on what you ask for. Like it could be a bunch of 4-day trips or 3 days. Sometimes if you have like kids and a family you want to be home to every night, you can do something similar to a 9 to 5 with what is called turns, where you go somewhere and you come back every day. You wind up in your bed every single night, basically. So you do a bidding process and it goes by seniority. So if you get a turn line one month and then the next month you don't, that's just how it goes. Usually for people who have the same exact route, and I mean going to the same place and back every day, they're pretty senior because they can hold that line, they can hold that schedule. For most people, it's hard to hold anything like that. But the very senior people can hold on to what they like doing. And if it's a route, then, something that we fly every single month and the company itself doesn't take away routes. I mean, they do that for seasonal things. If they can hold a route, then you're usually pretty senior. But most of us, it's very different. We might have locations that we like to fly to more than others and try to pick those up and keep those, but nothing is guaranteed and a girl's got to work. So if I'm going to Philadelphia when I like being in San Juan, I'm going to Philadelphia if that's all I've got on my schedule and the San Juans are all gone. Number 7, layovers are always a lot of fun. Now, I kind of already went over this. Layovers are not always a lot of fun. We have moments where we just don't have enough time, like I previously said, just got minimum rest, you've had a long day, and you just need to shower, have some dinner in your hotel room, and get to bed because you need your sleep. You might have a long day the next day and you're just tired. Sometimes they can be really fun if you got a long layover, if you got a great crew, if you're in a cool city that you've never been to before, you just love, that can be a great time. Or if there's an event going on in the city. One time I had a layover in Las Vegas on New Year's Eve, and that was probably one of my favorites. But no, to answer your question, layovers are not always fun. We have some flight attendants who, we call them slam clickers, and that means on every single layover, no matter how long it is, the crew will be like, let's go out, let's go get drinks and go get dinner, let's go walk around the city. And the slam clickers, they say no. And then why they call them slam clickers? Because they close the door and they lock it shut and you don't see any more of them until the next time they have to report at the airport. So it just depends on the person, on the layover, on the people you're working with. But yeah, I think they're fun if you have enough time and a good crew. Number 9, flight attendants are partiers and cheaters. This can be very insulting when people ask stuff like this. Or along the lines of this. I just don't like it. I think it's rude, and anybody can be a cheater or a partier or whatever it is. I understand partially because I get that we are away from our partners and we have opportunity to cheat, but it doesn't mean you're going to cheat if you're just not a cheating type of person. People will never cheat in their lives because they love their spouses and they think it's absolutely wrong. And being a flight attendant or a pilot even is not going to change that. But I understand the stigma because people don't really think past that very much. I don't know, maybe they would be the ones cheating if they had the opportunity, but it doesn't mean that flight attendants as a whole are cheaters and partiers. Now we have fun, we can definitely party, but we're responsible people, we are drug tested and alcohol tested at random. It's not like we're out here making bad decisions that would jeopardize our career or a job or our money, our family or our livelihood. So it can be a little insulting, but no, the answer is just like anybody else. If you're a cheater, you're going to cheat. If you're an alcoholic, you're going to drink alcohol. I think that's a pretty obvious self-explanatory answer, but for some reason there's a stigma behind flight attendants and pilots. So another fairly insulting insinuation is that we get the job to meet and marry a pilot. Look, this is not true, of course. I got this job for myself to have a career that I enjoyed for the rest of my life. That has nothing to do with a single other person than myself. And I think, and I know that pertains to every flight attendant other than myself. Sure, some people are attracted to pilots and they flirt a little bit here and there, but we don't get the job as the sole purpose to marry a pilot. And some of us, like I've also mentioned, are already married and loyal with children. So that is not how could that possibly be their goal either? So no, it is not to marry a pilot, it is for ourselves and to become a flight attendant. And that's it. Well, guys, that was 10 misconceptions about flight attendants. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any other questions or know of any other misconceptions that might interest me and just want to tell me about them, because I'm curious too what else people think about us. But yeah, so I hope you guys have a great day. I will be posting again soon, and happy Monday, happy New Year's, and thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up or a subscribe if you enjoy. Bye-bye!